Welcome, everyone, to a little bit of light awaiting Moshiach. Last week, we spoke about how our waiting for the coming of Moshiach is not about solving our problems, but it's about yearning for Hashem's glory. It's about yearning for the honor that's due to Hashem, a world in which He is sustaining, being good to, being kind to, in a world that's still rebelling against Him. Hashem's name is being desecrated in the world, and that should pain us, and that's what we're hoping will be taken away, will all go away once Moshiach comes. Then Hashem's glory will be restored in its fullest. And we should be pained by the fact that the world is not that way. Now, when Hashem created the world, we say the original plan was that Adam Harishon, the first man, should withstand the first commandment and only commandment he was given, not to eat from the tree of knowledge. And if he would have kept that, the world would have come to its perfection. But he didn't do that. And that now created a situation, that brought the situation in which now the world, for it to come back to its perfect state, has to go through a whole history of rectification in order to get back to that state. Part of that rectification, part of that plan of Hashem, part of the plan of world history, to go through, it has to go through for the world to come back to where it's meant to be, is the fact that we are given, and actually Adam Harishon, the first man, was also given bechira, free will. He was supposed to use his free will not to eat from the tree of knowledge, which he didn't. And now mankind is meant to now, with their free will, be able to serve Hashem with that free will. And when we serve Hashem with our free will, we bring the world closer to its rectification. And when we don't, we delay it. And therefore, but we know that when Mashiach comes, the world will come back to where it's meant to be. We will all be in a state in which we recognize what's the truth, what's the absolute truth of how everything revolves around Hashem, and everything should revolve around Hashem, and everything that we do revolves around Hashem and should be in His service and is in His service. And we'll come to a point where we'll look back at the past and realize how ridiculous it was to do things differently than that. But it's through the coming of Mashiach that the world will come back to that state in which Hashem's glory will be there in its fullest. Hashem will be honored in the fullest way. Hashem's name will be sanctified in the fullest way. That is really what we yearn for. And we yearn for that because if our Father in heaven's honor is being disgraced, that should pain us. And we should yearn and hope for the time when that will end. And the truth is that this whole concept that we're talking about, we really find in our prayers. The prayer of Aleinu, which a while ago we went through before Rosh Hashanah, really expresses this idea. The first part of the prayer of Aleinu is in which we talk about it is our duty to praise the Master of all, to ascribe greatness to the Creator, for He has not made us like the native nations of the lands, and has not made us like the families of the earth. We declare that we thank Hashem for the fact that we have been given the privilege and the honor and the understanding not to worship other perceived sources of power, but rather we bend our knees, bow, and acknowledge our thanks before the King who reigns over kings, the Holy One, blessed is He. He stretches out heaven and establishes earth's foundation. The seat of His glory is in the heavens above, and His powerful presence is in the loftiest heights. He is our God, and there is none other. We recognize that there is nothing but Hashem, and we submit ourselves to Him because of that. We realize His greatness. We realize He has created the world. We realize that Shechinas Uzay v'Gavhei Meremin, at this point of time, the His Shechinas Uzay, as they translate here, His powerful presence is in the loftiest heights. At this point, that powerful presence is in the loftiest heights. It's not down here yet. but at the same time, we recognize his greatness. We recognize who he is. We have been given the privilege not to be fooled into following other things. And we realize Hu Elokeinu Ein Od. He is our God. There is none other. He is the only power of this world. He is the only one that makes this world run and makes everything happen and orchestrates everything in this world for its benefit. And there's none other. There is no other power. This is what we realize, and we submit ourselves to him. We bow, we bend our knees, we bow and acknowledge. And we thank Hashem for the privilege that we have, the bond that we have with him, with this understanding of his greatness. That's the first paragraph of the Olenu. And then we say, Al Kei Nekava L'cha Hashem Elokeinu. Therefore we put our hope in you, Hashem, our God, that we may soon see your splendorous might to remove detestable idolatry from the earth, and false gods will be utterly cut off, to perfect the universe through the almighty sovereignty. Then all humanity will call upon your name to turn all the earth's wicked toward you. All the world's inhabitants will recognize and know that to you every knee should bend, every tongue should swear. Al Kain Nekava, because we recognize Hashem's greatness and that there is none other than him, we therefore hope that everyone will come to that understanding, that everyone will turn to him, that everyone will recognize that there is nothing else besides for him, and that everyone will submit themselves to him. That's what we Al Kain Nekava, that's what we hope for. We hope for everyone to recognize Hashem's greatness, and for everyone to turn to Hashem. Just as we turn to Hashem, we hope that everyone will turn to Hashem. It's not about us. It's about hoping for Hashem's glory to be enhanced, for Hashem's glory to fill the world, for everyone to recognize that glory. And I was thinking that when we look at the words in Olenu, we talk about us and the others, which is true, that we have that unique bond and understanding of Hashem's greatness. And we submit ourselves to that. But sometimes we don't submit ourselves to that well. And when Moshiach comes, that's going to bring us to be able to truly recognize Hashem's glory and Hashem's greatness. That which we lack now, we won't be lacking then. So in essence, when we say we hope to Hashem to see your glory, and that all were and all people will call in your name. In some ways, we're talking about ourselves too. We're hoping that we'll be able, in the unique level of the Jewish people, to be able to call his name. Everybody should call his name. But we also should be calling his name. Because when we don't call his name properly now, we know the Mashiach comes, we will be able to do that. So in essence, what we hope for, and again, the word is hope. It's not just believe, we're hoping for it. It's something that we anticipate. It's something that we yearn for. We hope for it. And we're hoping that everyone will join us, and we will be brought to the level of recognizing Hashem the way we should. Us, together with the whole world. That is what we are hoping for in Olenu. And again, the focus is not us. The focus is we hope for Hashem's glory. We hope for everybody to recognize Hashem. We're not hoping for all our tzaras to go away. That will happen too. But what we're really hoping for is the manifestation of Hashem's glory, the recognition of Hashem's glory by everyone in the world, by us, the Jewish people, in our unique way, together with the rest of the world. Now, in the words of the Rambam, now of course this is all talking about with the coming of Mashiach. That is when this will all happen. And we mentioned that, and again, this idea that I'm sharing with you comes from the Art Scroll book written by Rabbi Yecheskel Elias, Ani Mamin. He goes through the 13 principles of faith for the Rambam. And the Rambam, when he writes about this article of our faith, he writes the following. He writes that we believe in the coming of Mashiach and that we wait for his coming. And we believe that he will possess, Moshiach will possess strength and love, and that he will be sought after, even with how he is described by all the prophets from Moshe to Malachi. Part of what we believe in Moshiach is, or a big part, an essential part of what we believe in Moshiach is that he will possess strength and love and be sought after. If he is going to lead the world back to the belief in Hashem, therefore he has to have these traits. We have to believe that he will have strength. He'll have love. Love is important. The leader has to have love. When a leader has love, that's when the people follow the leader. And it'll be sought after. He will be magnetic. People will want to follow him. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for everyone to follow him with his leadership back to the ways of Hashem. So again, it's in our, whenever we say Aleinu, we should realize that this is what we're saying. We're saying that we hope for everyone to turn to Hashem, for everyone to call in his name, for the wicked to turn to him. It's all about restoring his honor and his glory. That's what we wait for. Because every child waits for their father, for their parent, not to be stepped upon and not to be degraded, but to be honored for all the good and kindness that they shower upon the world that he created for his will. And we should think about that when we say Aleinu. And we should give it some thought and actually give a little pause and say and hope for the coming of Mashiach. And hope for the coming of Mashiach. And hope for the restoration of Hashem's glory. Because that will bring the world back to perfection. And that will be the world that we all want to live in. Thank you for listening. This has been a little bit of light. Have a wonderful Shabbos.